On non-political talks, burned down 2 APC offices in Svtv State. President Buhari appreciates the use of doctors with headquarters in conflict areas in the country. Buhari government cautions against recruiting 100,000 soldiers. On business, CBN releases list of 33 authorized money deposit banks, financial holdings operating in Nigeria. On sports, Nigeria is still 31st best team in the world. And on the international scene, U.S. opposes Nigeria's plan to hand Kebbi governor $100 million from Abacha leaks. Welcome to Standard Voice Television News. My name is Samia Ibrahim. Now the news in full. An unknown persons have set ablaze 2 All Progressives Congress APC offices in Talata Mafara local government area of Svtv State. The incident occurred on Thursday night when some members of the People's Democratic Party (PDP) who returned from Abuja after meeting with Governor Bello Matawalle, where they have announced the campaign to his party (PDP). Sources who confirmed the incident said the 2 APC offices were burnt down by some yet unidentified political thugs suspected to be PDP supporters. According to an eyewitness who confirmed to have encountered with the group of youths who are chanting PDP power, arrived the location carrying different types of weapons and set the office ablaze. Reports has further revealed that the 2 offices located at the beginning and the tail end of Talata Mafara metropolis was simultaneously burnt down beyond repairs. Properties like sound system, furniture and other valuable materials were said to have been destroyed. All efforts to speak to the police as at the time of filing this report proving abortive. A Kano State High Court on Friday sentenced one Rashida Saidu to death by hanging for causing the death of her husband Adamu Ali after pushing him out of a story building in the state. The convict had been charged to court since last year following her alleged complicity in the death of her husband, who was until his death a staff of the Federal College of Education (FCE) Kano. Prosecution counsel Mariam Jibril had told the court that Mrs. Saidu engaged her husband in a fight at their residence in Rurai quarters about a year ago. The prosecution counsel added that during the fight, she allegedly pushed the deceased down from one-story building, which eventually led to his death. During the trials, the prosecution produced 4 witnesses to the court to prove their charges against the suspects. However, the suspect, through her lawyer, Ilya Dauda, denied the charges and proceeded to produce her own 2 witnesses to counter the allegation of culpability in the charges. Thereafter, in his judgment, Mr. Justice Ahmed Badamasi held that the prosecution had proven their cases beyond reasonable doubt, adding that the suspect was pivotal to the death of her 56-year-old husband. The judge, therefore, sentenced her to death by hanging. Reacting to the judgment, the family of the late Ali described the death sentence passed on the ex-wife of their brother as just unfair. A relative of the deceased, Ali Usman, said that with the judgment of the court, the right of the deceased has been upheld, expressing happiness that justice has come the way of the deceased barely a year after his death. President Muhammadu Buhari expressed satisfaction with the sacrifices of Medicine Sans Frontiers doctors without borders in conflict areas in Nigeria. Receiving the President of Doctors Without Borders, Dr. Christos Christou, the President said the sacrifices as individuals and as a group were quite enormous, particularly on non-profit basis. Commenting specifically on the situation in the Northeast, President Buhari said despite criticisms, the government has made substantial progress. The President said the administration is aware of the pathetic situation of children not knowing where their parents are or the communities they come from, and that was why they established the new Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development. The president said the idea was to harness and channel resources to such deprived people. The president promised that respite and so will come to all the troubled areas, adding that many prominent and well-to-do organizations were also involved, along with international agencies. A former lawmaker representing Kaduna Central Senatorial District at the upper legislative chamber of the National Assembly, Senator Shehu Sani, has said that the purported move by the federal government to recruit new soldiers to fight insurgency in the northeast will not bring the desired solution. According to him, it will yield no positive result recruiting soldiers when those on the battlefront are not being taken care of. The former lawmaker advised that government, instead of recruiting more soldiers, should equip those already on war front and see to the welfare of the fallen heroes. Senator Sani said that modern weapons and technologies should be destroyed, arguing that this will boost the morale of soldiers to fight and defend their fatherland. We'll be right back after this short commercial break. Stay tuned. Welcome back on Business. Over to Jemima Samuel.
Audio Jungle.
Thank you and welcome to Business Desk. The Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, on Wednesday released the list of deposit money banks and financial holding companies operating in Nigeria. According to the report, 8 commercial banks with international authorization that were operational as of December 31, 2019 included Access Bank PLC, Fidelity Bank PLC, First City Monument Bank PLC FCMB, First Bank Nigeria Limited, Guarantee Trusted Bank PLC, Union Bank of Nigeria PLC, United Bank of Africa PLC, and Zenith Bank PLC. It also showed that 11 commercial banks have national authorization, and that's where Citibank Nigeria Limited, EcoBank Nigeria PLC, Heritage Bank Limited, Keystone Bank Limited, Polaris Bank PLC, Stanbic IBTC Bank PLC, Standard Chartered Bank PLC, Sterling Bank PLC, Titan Trusted Bank Limited, Unity Bank PLC, and Wema Bank PLC. The CBN listed only 3 commercial banks with regional authorization that were operational in Nigeria as of December 31, 2019, and the banks are SunTrust Bank Nigeria Limited, Providos Bank PLC, and Globus Bank Nigeria. However, Jaiz Bank is the only non-interest bank with national authorization on the list, while Taj Bank Limited is listed as the only non-interested bank with regional authorization. For the merchant bank dealing with commercial loans and investment, CBN said 5 were operational as at the close of 2019. They concluded Coronation Merchant Bank, FBN Merchant Bank, FSDH Merchant Bank, Nova Merchant Bank, and Rand Merchant Bank. As for institutions that have license to offer non-banking financial service such as insurance, handwriting, and investment advisory service, which are the financial holdings companies, CBN said 4 were operational as at the close of 2019, which were FBNB Holding PLC, FCMB Group PLC, FSHD Holding Company, and Stanbic IBTC Holding PLC. The Apex Bank in August 2016 warned Nigerians against patronizing unregistered international money transfer operators. The ICIR contacted Isaac Okorafor, Acting Director of Communication at CBN, for comment, but he was unavailable. However, an official of the bank who did not want to be named because he is not allowed to talk to media said the list was released for the purpose of guiding the public on banks they should not transact with to avoid loss of funds and loss of investment. The Acting Director of Communications at CBN, Isaac Okorafor, was quoted saying all financial service providers in Nigeria, just as in other jurisdictions, are required to be duly licensed in order to protect both customers and the financial system, as well as to ensure the credibility of financial transactions. And that's what we have on Business Desk today. I am Jemima Samuel.
On spot, over to Sofian.
Hello, welcome to Standard Voice Television Sports Room. My name is Svtv Abubakar, and as usual, I bring the sports updates. Nigeria remained on move at number 31 in the latest FIFA ranking for the month of February released on Thursday. The former African champions were adjudged the same rank in the world according to the ranking released in December 2019. Ghana's raw team is now Africa's third best nation behind only Senegal and Tunisia, while Algeria and Morocco complete the top 5. Senegal remain at the top of the summit of African football with 1,555 points, which places them in 20th position in the world, while the Carthage Eagles of Tunisia are second and ranked 27th in the world. Super Eagles' opponents in March African Cup of Nations qualifiers, Sierra Leone, also remain motionless with 1,155 points to be rated 118th in the world and number 30 in Africa. Overall, the top 20 remain unchanged, with Belgium, France and Brazil still making up the top 30. The next FIFA World Rankings will be published on 9th April this year. And in the Europa League, Nigerian striker Emmanuel Dennis was on target on Thursday night as his Belgian club FC Bruges played out a 1-1 draw against Manchester United. Dennis, a project of the Abuja Football Academy, scored in the 15th minute, but Anthony Marshall saved United's blushes with his 36th minute equalizer as Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's side escaped defeat in the away tie. Dennis, who had also hugged the headlines when he scored a brace at the Santiago Bernabeu against Real Madrid when his team were still competing in the Champions League earlier last year. Aside from the heroics of Dennis, another Nigerian, Odio Igalo, came on as a second-half substitute as United kicked off the Europa League knockout phase with a hard-fought 1-1 draw at Club Brugge. While many had predicted Igalo to get his debut goal in the Thursday night tie, it was not to be, though the former Super Eagles striker continued to show flashes of brilliance. After Monday's impressive and much-needed Premier League win at top 4 rivals Chelsea, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer made 6 changes in Belgium for the first leg of the round of 32 tie. Elsewhere, another Nigerian, Victor Moses, was on the winning side with Inter Milan as they won 2-0 away to Ludogorets. Moses was in action for 72 minutes before he was substituted. In some of the other games already decided, Getafe and Frankfurt recorded home wins over Ajax and Salzburg respectively. And that's all we have on sports today. Have a nice weekend.
And on the international scene.
Audio
The United States is opposing plans by Nigeria to give $100 million from loot recovered from former Nigerian military head of state, General Sani Abacha, to Kebbi State Governor Alhaji Atiku Bagudu. U.S. Department of Justice said Bagudu was involved in corruption with the late Abacha, who Transparency International (TI) said may have looted as much as $5 billion during his 1993 and 1998 rules in Nigeria. The Department of Justice also contends that the Nigerian government is hindering U.S. efforts to recover allegedly laundered money it said was traced to Bagudu, Bloomberg reported on Friday. The department also, in a statement earlier in the month, said that Bagudu with Abacha and Abacha's son Mohammed Sani Abacha embezzled, misappropriated and extorted billions from the government of Nigeria and others, then laundered their criminal proceeds through U.S. financial institutions and the purchase of bonds backed by the United States. The DOJ said the United States has asked the government of Nigeria to draw litigation it has instituted in the UK that hinders its efforts to recover these additional funds for the people of Nigeria in February 2020. According to the Bloomberg report, the Nigerian government said there is a 17-year-old agreement that entitles Bagudu to the funds and prevents Nigeria from assisting the U.S., according to recent filing for the District of Columbia in Washington. This case illustrates how complex and contentious repatriating stolen assets to Nigeria can be, said Matthew Page, an associate fellow at London-based Chatham House and former Nigerian expert for U.S. intelligence agencies. Instead of welcoming U.S. efforts, Nigeria's lawyers appear to be supporting the interests of one of the country's most powerful families. Still on the international scene, a new round of U.S. sanctions is a greater honor, said an Iranian official on Friday, a day after a new penalties were imposed on members of the country's Guardian Council. The council's spokesperson, Abbas Ali, said they are happy about the sanctions, and for them it is a great honor because it shows how enriched the Americans are with them. He said it shows that Iran's policy on the United States is having an effect and not making Washington happy. The U.S. issued the new sanctions targeting 5 members of the Council and its election oversight committee on Thursday in anticipation of the country's Friday elections. The sanctions put a freeze on any asset held by the individuals in the U.S., even though none of those affected has any American interests. One of the Council's duties is to review candidates before they are allowed to compete in Iranian elections. The Council disqualified thousands of reformist and moderate candidates in the run-up to this year's polls. Observers say this cleared a way for hardliners to score large victories in the balloting after a series of elections in which they performed poorly. That has been the news from Standard Voice Television. To end the news, a quick look at the major headlines. On non-political topics, burned down 2 APC offices in Zamfara State. President Buhari appreciates rules of Doctors Without Borders in conflict areas in the country. Buhari government cautioned against recruiting 100,000 soldiers. On business, CBN releases list of 33 authorized money deposit banks, financial holdings operating in Nigeria. Transport, Nigeria is still 34th best team in the world. And on the international scene, U.S. opposes Nigeria's plan to hand Svtv government $100 million from Abacha. That's the news. On behalf of the production crew, Head of News and Current Affairs, Ibrahim Garbatana, and Samira Ibrahim, wishing you a pleasant weekend. Keep watching Standard Voice.